Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to KSNT News here on your Wednesday morning. Less than 24 hours ago, Governor Collier signed the education funding bill for the state. Joining me this morning is Topeka Public School Superintendent Dr. Tiffany Anderson. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. And we want to know how the bill is going to impact our local schools here in Topeka.
Well, you know, there are two things. One, there's still an error in the bill. So right now, as it stands, we would get about $42,000 less than what we have now. But assuming that the error is fixed, we'll end up gaining about $2.7 million, a little bit as well in special ed, about half of that in special ed, so about $1.7 million in special ed. So we are excited about that. That $2.7 million roughly will impact us in a variety of ways. So several of the cuts previously in prior years took away summer school, counselors, art teachers. I mean, there are so many cuts that we really will have an opportunity to restore that. So right now, we're hoping to put $1.5 million in staffing back into schools next year.
Wow.
So that would be teachers, counselors across the board.
Now, do you think this is enough? Is this going to appease the state Supreme Court? Is this going to make as much of a difference to the schools as lawmakers are hoping it will?
Well, I think there are two pieces. One, when you think about, is it enough? You know, how much do you really need to support kids and to make sure you give great learning opportunities for kids? So is it enough? No, it's not enough. I think we still have a long way to go. In terms of really appeasing the court, I will have to wait and see. But I will tell you that the continued clarity needed for what they're looking for and what is needed is a continued conversation. In my mind, if they really passed more than what you would imagine would be needed, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it will be a wait and see, and some feel like it's not enough for right now, and so we will have to wait and see. If we do have an issue at the end of this year, then they will need to go back and look at where they can find additional funds to satisfy the court. I applaud the court for making sure equitable funding is stronger in the state of Kansas.
Let's discuss the mistake that was made in terms of the $80 million that was not included in the recent signed bill. You mentioned something earlier before we came on air about how this is going to impact our schools here.
Yeah, so right now as it stands at Senate Bill 423, that mistake is pretty significant for us because instead of gaining $2.7 million, we actually will lose $42,000 roughly. So that's an error that needs to be corrected in a timely fashion, and I trust that it will be addressed. And that's just Topeka, but across the state of Kansas, many will actually receive less funding just based on that $80 million error.
One of the reasons this bill has taken so long to get signed is because of the constitutional amendment that's been proposed on clarifying what is adequate. Do you agree with an amendment should be made with the bill?
Well, you know, really, I have not commented much on my feelings about what amendments should or shouldn't be made, but I will say this, that I think it is very clear that funding is inequitable. It's very clear what we need to do to make sure that we better support kids. Whether or not an amendment is there or not, to clarify that, I think the idea of making sure we put our resources where our beliefs are in that regard are very much needed. So in regards to the amendment, I think at the end of the day, legislators know that we are not funding schools in the way that we need to, and we need to step up and do more.
Well, we cannot forget about the Week of the Young Child, which is going on this week as well, and you are going to be in a kindergarten class today, I hear.
Yes, I've taught kindergarten multiple times this week. So today I am at Highland Park Central. I've been at Meadows. State Street was yesterday. And I am enjoying my time walking in the shoes of a teacher, which I consider myself as a teacher, even though my title is superintendent, but celebrating our young students and the investment that through this funding we'll be able to do in early childhood will be amazing. So I'm excited about today. If you are a person that wants to volunteer in a school, it's the Week of the Young Child. We encourage people to come on to Topeka Public Schools.
Wonderful. Love seeing those pictures there of you inside the classrooms. Our young kiddos are so important here in our community, and it's great to be celebrating them. Dr. Anderson, thank you for stopping by and being with us this morning, tackling some of those tough discussions on school finance.